6 a.m. Let's go.
Day 3 on the trail, and I woke up to another beautiful view of a gorgeous castle.
Okay. Oh, I have a bit of allergies this morning. Oh. Of course. I have a bit of allergies this morning. I'm in a castle. Check it out. Hey, in a castle. It's like 7:30 and I need to start hiking, but I wanted to see the castle, so I'm going to do a little walk around. Oh yeah, this is very cool. Check it out.
The trail continues to be such a fun mix of forested paths, castles, and tall stone towers, and surprising rock formations. An electric fence that we have to go over.
I'm sitting on a log because for whatever reason, I'm having a lot of foot pain kind of in my arch. And I don't know, it's a new pain. I haven't had this one before. And it doesn't hurt to the touch really. Like it's a little tender, but not like, I don't know, not like fiery pain, but it really hurts to walk on. And I'm about 12 kilometers into my day, and yeah, the downhills are a real slog on this foot situation that's going on, and I don't know what it is. It's something that I've never had before. Yeah, it's just strange. It's strange and frustrating, obviously, because like, what are we, day 3? And I'm like, ow, 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 with every step, which is super annoying. And I'm not sure what to do with it. So I'm going to kind of slog the 3 kilometers to this little village that has some place to sit down and hang out. Take maybe a couple of hours. It's only like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I only need to do another 12 kilometers after that or something. But yeah, try and figure out what's going on, because I don't want to just like pop an Advil and push through it if it's something that's like going to become an injury, because that seems like a dumb thing to do. I don't want it to be a permanent thing or make it worse. But if it just means I need to take like a half a day off and put some ice on it, and then, tomorrow it will be better, then I would much rather do that early on than try and push it and then do more permanent damage that jeopardizes the rest of the 4 months that I'm supposed to be walking on this particular foot. Yeah, that's not super fun, but I don't want this to just be a highlight reel, because through hiking is mostly not a highlight reel. Most of it, the majority of through hiking is painful and boring, but in a fun way somehow. It's weird. But this is like painful in a not fun way, so there we go. And it could be these new Ultras. They've changed the design a little, and as soon as I put them on, I thought like, oh, I'm like pronating a little bit, which I thought like, oh, that it's fine, I've worn Ultras forever. But it might be the way that these are designed. It's like doing a little bit something weird to my foot. So I'm just sitting in the forest, letting my foot rest for a minute before I push on for the next basically an hour, and then I can sit down and chill. Yeah, that's all. Time for a little lunch stop.
At this lunch, Will said, "Oh, let's just get the plate of the day. It sounds really good." And I was like, "Okay, like what is it?" He's like, "Oh, it's going to be really good. Like don't worry about it." And I was like, "Okay." So I look over halfway through our meal to the person sitting next to me, and their second course is like this big pile of seafood, and I can't eat seafood. And I immediately was like, "Oh no!" And I had to change my order, and I felt really bad and awkward. And yeah, it was just awkward. So really, the moral of the story is I will continue to order my own food, and then I won't have to eat gross shellfish. But they were actually really helpful and kind, and they switched it for me right away to something with meat instead of shellfish. But it was still just awkward because I had to explain myself in French, and that was really hard to do.
So the funny thing about this trail that I mean, it's day 3, so I have to pace myself, of course. But today, there was a really cute little restaurant. It was right smack dab in the middle of the day, 15 kilometers. It was like noon. It was perfect time for lunch. So a few of us stopped and had a little lunch at this tiny restaurant. And it's really good. French food is great. It's very different than Canadian food, I'll tell you that. But it's delicious. Some kind of bread with some sauce and some meat, and then they just give you a bowl of pasta on the side that you kind of mix in, which was kind of interesting. That was good. It was a great trail meal. Full of protein and carbs and fat. Delicious. But yeah, basically I'm back on the trail. I did take an Advil and my foot is feeling a little bit better, but it's still something weird going on in there, so I'm just gonna have to keep monitoring it. I'm gonna reach a small village in another 2 kilometers. Where there's allegedly a small shop that I'm hoping has some fruit. I could use a fruit, that would be nice. Yeah, and then camp will probably be, I'm gonna say another 5 kilometers after that. So just kind of another 26 kilometer day. Nothing huge, we're just kind of easing into things for the first week or so. Get the rhythm of everything. Yeah, that's it. But French hikers are so cute. Well, just I guess this part of France, I can't speak for all of France, but so far, everyone on the trail, you have to say bonjour, bonjour. Everyone says hello, right? And then anytime you walk into a restaurant, you have to say bonjour. And everyone in the restaurant looks at you and goes bonjour. Because I know it's they're all really small towns. So there's 5 people in a restaurant. But you walk in the door, bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. And it's just very cute. And then you leave the restaurant, you turn around and you say au revoir to everybody. And it's adorable. And you're not allowed to start eating your food until someone says bon appetit. Because otherwise they're like, excuse me, why did you start eating? Even if everyone has their food, someone has to say bon appetit before you start eating, or you're being rude. So even at camp, I started eating my ramen that I'd cooked, and one of the French guys that was camping nearby was like, bon appetit. And I was like, oh, sorry, my bad, I was hungry. I'm not used to this particular type of trail etiquette, so something to keep in mind. Yeah, that's about it for right now. Ooh, I'm in a pretty green tunnel. It is pretty toasty out here. It's not quite as hot as yesterday, but it's warm. It's warm. But luckily, we've had shade in these kind of tunnels for most of the day, which is really nice.
I think my only small complaint thus far about the app and the trail is just the lack of marked water sources. I mean, obviously I'm an adult and I can look on a map and see where blue lines for rivers are and find my own water. But sometimes you get somewhere where there's supposed to be water and there's not. And then that means you have to just fill your bottles with public fountain water.
It's the first Hexatrek marker I've found.
But who even needs water when you can just get a trailside beer? I mean, look how delicious that is. After a solid 27 kilometers of hiking, I was pretty ready to be done. So we found this really cool castle and decided to find a place to camp. It was technically not a bivouac zone, but we figured maybe no one would bother us.
Yeah, just double check, make sure it's the best spot. So we're sort of camped in a tourist castle. I'm hoping that no one finds us and kicks us out, because it's a really good flat spot and there's like no camping for another 2 kilometers and my feet are so tired. So we're just sort of hanging out until it gets a little bit darker, and then we're gonna set up our tents and see how that goes. So fingers crossed that no one kicks us out, because I don't want to walk anymore. And it's so flat and cute here, so. So we'll just cook some dinner inside the castle garden and see how it goes. Oh no, there are just people walking through the garden and I'm sitting here making soup in the grass with my hiker clothes on. It's like a gremlin. Little trail gremlin. Putting my oil in my soup. I like that there's oil in here, like in theory, but then it gets my pot all oily and then it's so much harder to clean out. So I don't think I'm sold on that as an idea. Little oil packets. They do taste good though.
We got lucky and no one seemed to care that we were camping in the courtyard of this castle, and it was such a nice spot. It was quiet and flat and protected from the wind.
I have never stealth camped at a castle. Mission to sleep in this tourist castle actually went quite well. I slept really well tucked into the corner of that little walled courtyard. It was great. And there's fresh water here that was not on the map, so that's really helpful. And yeah, so now I'm gonna head to Saverne. It's 20 kilometers, so hoping to be there by lunch, and then take like a half day off and maybe leave late tomorrow morning. We'll see. But definitely shower and wash my clothes. Yeah.
So in English, we would call these a cinnamon bun or a cinnamon roll, but here they call them cinnamon snails, and I just think that's so cute.
I'm literally so close to town, but my feet hurt so badly right now. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, so I'm taking a break even though I'm like 10 minutes away from town. My feet are gonna fall off. Feels horrible. Anyway, that's all. To celebrate 100 kilometers, I just got myself a giant ice cream and an Aperol Spritz, and everyone is very jealous. They're all looking from the streets. Wow, pretty excited. Made it to Saverne, and then I'm gonna stay here for like a day, and then carry on. About 100 kilometers down. Okay, it's my first shower of the trail, and I got hella sunburned. Accidentally, all of a sudden. I was fine for all the other days, but no, today I am red to match my shirt. Excited to wash this.
After I showered, Lavender and I grabbed a pizza. He's another hiker on the trail that I just met, and then I had to crash out because I was so tired. Okay, you can't see the video because I don't want to turn the lights on, but it's 10 o'clock at night and this has been going for at least a couple of minutes now. It's very loud.